critical radius or critical thickness of insulation. So let us discuss about what the critical radius or critical thickness of insulation is all about. By providing insulation, we generally mean that it will reduce the heat transfer rate, but it is not a generalized statement. For example, in case of plain wall, if I provide insulation over the plain wall, more will be the thickness of insulation, less will be the heat transfer rate across the plain wall. For example, one simple plain wall is shown in figure, having thickness L, thermal conductivity K, and temperature difference T1 minus T2. T1 is greater than T2 here. So heat transfer rate will take place from left face to right face. And I can calculate the heat transfer rate. For example, this is case 1. Q1 is equal to T1 minus T2 over L upon Ka, which happens to be thermal conductance resistance. Now, in second case, let's say I provide an insulation of thickness L1 to this plain wall, maintaining the same temperature difference T1 and T2. The heat transfer rate Q2 in this case will be T1 minus T2 over sum of thermal resistances of these two solid materials, that is L over K of plain wall and L1 over K1A for insulating material 1. Similarly, let's say I provide another layer of insulation having thermal conductivity K2 and thickness L2, maintaining the same temperature difference across the plain wall face and second insulation face. Under such condition, the rate of heat transfer can be calculated by T1 minus T2 over L upon Ka plus L1 over K1A plus L2 over K2A. Now the point worth noticing here is that the heat transfer area normal to the area normal to heat flow is always remaining A in all these three cases. But what is being observed, when we provide the layer of insulation, it increases the length of the path of the heat flow in the direction of heat flow. Similarly, here the length of the path of the heat flow in the direction of heat flow is L plus L1 plus L2. So area normal to heat flow remain constant. Thickness in the direction of heat flow increases, and thermal conductivity of insulating material is also coming into picture. And thermal conductivity of insulating material is generally low as compared to the conducting material. So the overall effect of all these parameters, that is, A remains constant, thickness of the wall increases, and by providing insulating layer, thermal conductivity of the entire system decreases. So as you can see here, this is the rate of heat transfer in first case, this is the rate of heat transfer in second case. Here the denominator is more as compared to case 1, because L1 length is coming into picture, which is increasing the numerator, and K1 is coming into picture, that is thermal conductivity of insulating material. So as a result of this, L1 over K1A will be more, it will add up, and as a result of this, heat transfer rate in second case will decrease as compared to heat transfer rate in first case. Similarly, in case 3, by adding another layer of insulation, this L2 over K2A is getting added up to the denominator, and as a result of this, heat transfer rate in third case will be lesser than heat transfer rate in second case than the heat transfer rate in first case. So I have summed up here. So let us try to conclude. When we provide insulating material layer over a plane wall, it reduces the heat transfer rate. More will be the thickness of the insulating material, less will be the heat transfer rate across the plane wall. So for plane wall, by providing insulating material layer, it reduces heat transfer rate. Now let us talk about for cylindrical or spherical wall. So let's say there is a cylinder, hollow cylinder of radius R1 and outer radius R2 and having thermal conductivity K. Now it is provided an insulating material layer of radius R3 and having thermal conductivity K1. Similarly, there is a sphere of radius R1, outer radius R2, hollow sphere, and it is also provided with an insulating material layer of outer radius R3. For the sake of simplicity, I am saying it is not separating any hot and cold fluid. And let's say this face of the cylinder, temperature of inner side of the cylinder is T1 and temperature at this face is T2 and temperature at the outer face is T3. So, and T1 is greater than T2. So by virtue of this temperature difference, heat transfer rate will take place in outer direction. So how can I calculate this rate of heat transfer through this cylindrical wall? Considering the thermal resistances offered by the hollow cylinder and then by insulating material layer. So I can calculate it by temperature difference to the total thermal resistances. So the very first thermal resistance will offer by the cylinder material having thermal conductivity K, and we have derived this relationship 1 over 2 pi KL log of R2 over R1. This is by cylinder and it will be conductive in nature. Second thermal resistance will be offered by this insulating material layer having thermal conductivity K1. So it can be calculated by 1 over 2 pi K1L log of R3 over R2. And the final thermal resistance will be offered by the surrounding fluid from the outer surface, and it will be conductive in nature, that is 1 over HO. So it can be calculated by 1 over HO, that is heat transfer coefficient of outer fluid to the outer area of the cylindrical surface, 2 pi R3 into L. So basically 3 resistances are coming into picture in this case if we provide insulating material over a hollow cylindrical surface. Now what will be effect of this insulating material on the heat transfer rate? That we need to investigate. Now as you can see here, R3 is the outer radius of insulating material. So when we go on increasing the value of R3, that is when we increase the thickness of insulating material over the base cylinder, the R3 will be increasing. And when R3 will be increasing, this ratio R3 by R2 will be increasing, and thermal resistance, conductive thermal resistance offered by the insulating material will increase. So with the increase of R3, RTH insulation will increase. But at the same time, by increasing the outer radius of the insulation, by increasing the thickness of the insulating material, this parameter is this thermal resistance, that is convective thermal resistance, is going to decrease. So 1 upon HO into 2 pi R3L, this entire parameter is going to decrease. So RT, convection, decreases when R3 increases. So what is happening actually, when we provide insulating material over a cylindrical wall, and by increasing the outer radius of the insulation, the conductive thermal resistance increases, but at the same time convective thermal resistance decreases. And this decrease or increase of thermal resistance depends upon the value of the R3. It has been found that for a particular value of R3, thermal conductive resistance increases, convective thermal resistance decreases, and after that particular value of R3, thermal conductive resistance decreases and the convective thermal resistance increases. So in case of plain wall, I cannot say by providing the insulating material or increasing the thickness of the insulating material over the cylinder or sphere, it will increase the heat transfer rate. So from this, there comes a concept of critical radius of insulation for either cylindrical wall or spherical wall. So let us define a term called as critical radius of insulation. What is critical radius of insulation? With the increase of radius, or thickness of insulating material, heat transfer rate increases for a particular radius and it is called as critical radius of insulation. Okay, so when we provide insulating material over over a cylindrical or spherical surface, and when we go on increasing the outer radius of insulating material for a particular radius of insulation, heat transfer will increase, and at a particular radius the heat transfer rate will be maximum, and beyond that radius, if you further increase the radius of insulation, heat transfer rate decreases. So the radius at which the heat transfer rate is maximum is called as critical radius of insulation. So what I can write here, at critical radius, heat transfer rate is maximum, is at maximum rate. Now below the critical radius of insulation, heat transfer rate will increase, and above the critical radius of insulation, heat transfer rate will decrease. So for cylindrical and spherical surface, the effect of increasing radius of insulation is not the straight way, as in the case of plane wall. So let me represent this thing graphically. So let's say we provide an insulating material layer over a cylinder or sphere, and we plot rate of heat transfer versus radius of insulation. And let's say this is the critical radius of insulation. Okay. So if radius of insulation is less than critical radius of insulation, heat transfer rate will go on increasing. And when radius of insulation is equal to critical radius of insulation, at this point heat transfer rate will be maximum. If we further increase the radius of insulation, let's say at this point, the heat transfer rate will start decreasing, and if we further increase, it will go on decreasing and decreasing. So what is the crux of this entire discussion? In case of cylindrical and spherical wall, if we want to increase the heat transfer rate, the radius of insulation must be less than the critical radius of insulation. And if you want to decrease the rate of heat transfer rate, radius of insulation must be more than critical radius of insulation. Now what are the examples of these two cases? Where I want to increase the heat transfer rate and where I want to decrease the heat transfer rate by providing radius of insulation less than the critical radius of insulation or more than the critical radius of insulation respectively. So let us discuss two examples. By discussing these two examples, you will better appreciate the concept of critical radius of insulation. Let's say this is a steam pipe having certain thickness. It is carrying steam inside, represented by thin fluid film of steam. Now, in order to reduce the heat transfer rate, we want to provide a layer of insulation over this. Let's say its thermal conductivity is K1 and thermal conductivity of steam pipe is K. Its outer radius is R2 of steam pipe, inner radius is R1, and outer radius of this insulating material is, for example, R3. Now, what is my purpose? I don't want any heat to be transferred from steam to the outer environment, which happens to be air. So I want heat transfer rate to be as minimum as possible, almost zero. So what will be this R3 now? So R3 will be lesser than R critical. That is, the radius of insulation must fall in this zone. Only then heat transfer rate will decrease from steam to the air. So, to prevent heat loss from the steam pipe is the example of the case where radius of insulation must be less than the critical radius of insulation. So here I can quote heat loss from steam pipe. Now let us take another example. This is electrical cable of, let's say, certain finite thickness. This thickness I am not considering. Now these electrical cables are provided with PVC or plastic cover. Now what is the purpose of those plastic covers or sheath or PVC cover? Generally we call those cover by the name insulating material, isn't it? So let us say this is the thickness of that plastic insulation over the electric cable. Now what is the purpose of this plastic cover? See, whenever the electrical cables are carrying electric current and if they are naked, if someone touches them, they can get a shock, electrical shock. So the very first purpose is to prevent shock to the user. Okay, that is the primary purpose of these plastic covers provided over electrical cables. But what is happening? Electrical cables are of cylindrical shape, and if I provide the insulating material in the form of plastic cover, they may increase or decrease the heat transfer rate from electrical cable. Now, from where heat transfer rate will be coming? If a cable is carrying high amount of current through it and its resistance is Re, so this much heat will be generated, and this heat must be dissipated to the environment at the same rate at which it is generated to keep the temperature of the electrical cable to a minimum level. But what we have done, we have provided an insulating material layer. Now that can prevent the heat loss from the cable to the atmosphere. So what is the solution to this? The solution to this, the outer radius, if I choose the thickness of the plastic cover in such a way that if its outer radius is greater than critical radius of insulation, this will increase this heat transfer rate. The heat transfer rate will increase. It will fall in this zone. So this way I can increase the heat transfer rate from electrical cable, though I have provided the plastic insulation cover over it by providing outer radius of insulation more than the critical radius of insulation. So these are the two good examples of what should be the radius of insulation, and that depends whether you want to increase the heat transfer rate from the surface to the ambient or you want to decrease the heat transfer rate from surface to the ambient. So this concept is widely applied in electrical engineering. That is why we say heat transfer is a subject whose concepts are used in each branch of engineering. Now, why this happens actually? Why, when we provide insulating material, radius of insulating material less than the critical radius, why heat transfer rate increases and beyond this value heat transfer rate decreases? So that we can understand with the help of whether conductive thermal resistance increases or convective thermal resistance decreases. So as you can see here, when heat transfer is taking place through the cylinder, conductive thermal resistance is offered by the material of the cylinder and insulating material, and convective thermal resistance is offered by the outer radius of the cylinder. So if radius is less than critical radius, under such condition what is happening? Material resistance is increasing, you can see here, and surface resistance, that is convective thermal resistance, is decreasing. So as a result of this, total thermal resistance of the cylinder and thickness system, the cylinder and insulating material system, decreases. So heat transfer rate decreases in this zone. At critical radius of insulation, total thermal resistance is minimum, so heat transfer rate will be maximum. Beyond the critical radius of insulation, the surface resistance, the material resistance increases sharply and convective surface resistance decreases sharply. As a result of this, total thermal resistance of the system increases sharply. So beyond critical radius of insulation, heat transfer rate decreases. So Q2 will be less than Q1. So this way I can understand what is the effect of thermal resistance on critical radius of insulation. So this concept is very important concept, and in the same way we can discuss the concept for spherical wall as well. In the spherical wall as well, if we want to reduce the heat transfer rate from spherical wall to the ambient, outer radius of insulation must be less than critical radius of insulation, and if we want to increase the heat transfer rate, outer radius of insulation extremely sorry. If I want to decrease the heat transfer rate, outer radius should be greater than critical radius because it will fall in this zone. And if I want to increase the heat transfer rate, outer radius should be less than critical radius. Extremely sorry for this misexplanation. Okay, so same way we can explain for spherical wall as well. Now from the discussion, here one term is coming into picture, R critical. Unless we know the value of R critical, how could I decide whether I have to take the outer radius of insulation less than critical radius of insulation or more than critical radius of insulation? So the question comes to my mind, what is the value of R critical and how can I calculate? So let us calculate for cylindrical surface. In the similar fashion, you can also calculate for sphere as well. So this derivation is asked in the examination. I am calculating for cylindrical surface. In the similar fashion, you can calculate for spherical surface as well. So let us say there is a cylindrical surface of outer radius, inner radius R1, outer radius R2. It is provided with layer of insulation and this is R3. Now my aim is to calculate when R3 will be R critical. For what value of R3 it will become R critical. Let's say thermal conductivity of this insulating material is K and thermal conductivity of cylinder is K and thermal conductivity of insulating material is K1. And temperature difference across inner and outer surfaces are delta T. So the rate of heat transfer can be calculated in this case as delta T over 1 over 2 pi KL log of R2 over R1. This is the thermal resistance offered by cylinder. Second thermal resistance will be offered by insulating material 1 over 2 pi K1L log R3 over R2, and final thermal resistance will be offered by outer layer of the material exposed to the air having convective heat transfer coefficient HO 2 pi R3L. You can also draw the equivalent electrical circuit for this. TO is the outer temperature of air. And this will be rate of heat transfer. Now what happens? In order to find out for what value of R3 it will become critical radius, so we have to apply the condition of maxima. So from the condition of maxima, what did we find out? At maximum radius, at critical radius, heat transfer rate is maximum. So from the condition of maxima, heat transfer rate will be maximum, that is derivative of rate of heat transfer with respect to R3 will be 0. Whenever we want to find out at what value of one parameter the value of the dependent parameter will be maximum or minimum, we can find out by putting its derivative with respect to that parameter equal to 0. Now let us differentiate this. So I have to differentiate the entire term. 2 pi L is common, so I am taking it on numerator. It is common in all the terms. So what will be remaining inside in the denominator? 1 over k log of R2 over R1 plus 1 by k1 log of R3 over R2 plus 1 of 1 over HO into R3, and that will be equal to 0. Now let us differentiate this. So you have to recall the concept of differentiation. So first we have to consider the entire term as constant with respect to R3. So the differentiation will be delta T into 2 pi L over differentiation of 1 by constant term with respect to R3 will be T square. Let's say if this entire term is assumed by T, so its differentiation will be minus 1 over T square. So minus will come into picture and this will become 1 over K log of R2 over R1 plus 1 over K1 log of R3 over R2 plus 1 of HO into R3 square. Now I have to differentiate the entire term. So if I differentiate this entire term with respect to R3, so see, differentiation of 1 by K log R2 by R1 will be 0 plus 1 over, it is constant K1 log of R3 by R2, its differentiation will be 1 over R3 by R2, and 1 over R3 by R2 can be written as R2 over R3, and remaining differentiation of R3 by R2 will give me 1 over R2 plus differentiation of 1 upon HO R3 will give me minus 1 over HO R3 square. This entire term will equal to 0. So this cannot be 0, isn't it? This entire term cannot be 0. If I multiply this by this, it will become 0. If I divide 0 by anything, it becomes 0. So what will be left with me? 1 over K1 into this RT will get cancelled, R2 will get cancelled, 1 over R3 minus 1 over HO R3 square is equal to 0. Now simplify this. 1 upon K1 into 1 upon R3, 1 over HO into R3 square. If you simplify this, what you will get? R3 is equal to K1 over HO. and since we have applied the condition of maxima, this R3 will be equal to R critical. So what is the crux of this discussion? The crux of the discussion is that for cylindrical surface, the value of critical radius is K1 upon HO, where K1 is the thermal conductivity of insulating material and HO convective heat transfer coefficient of surrounding fluid. So it's the value of critical radius of insulation depends upon thermal conductivity of the insulating material and convective heat transfer coefficient of surrounding air. So I can also say, or I can also represent it by the value of critical radius of insulation for cylindrical surface is nothing but K1 upon HO. So let us get back to our discussion. Case 1 and case 2. In this case, I want to have heat transfer rate decreasing. The value of R3 must be greater than K1 upon HO, or this thermal conductivity of insulating material is K1, outer heat transfer coefficient is HO. So R3 must be greater than K1 upon HO. In case number 2, I want heat transfer rate to be maximum. So the value of R2 should be less than value of K upon HO. Correct? So this is called as critical radius of insulation for cylindrical surface. In the similar fashion, you can also calculate critical radius of insulation for a sphere. I am not deriving it, rather I am directly writing it. R critical for a spherical surface, and it comes out 2K upon HO. Where K is thermal conductivity of insulating material, HO is convective heat transfer coefficient of surrounding air. Now you need not to remember these two values, as these values are, the formula is given in HT data book. Okay. So this is all about critical radius of insulation and its effect.